In this tutorial, we're going to recreate the Spotify homepage using the Neve theme and Elementor. My name is Bjorn Allpass for Themeisle. If you like this kind of tutorial, make sure you click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future tutorials. And we're getting started right now. This is the website we're going to recreate. Spotify is a very popular music service. I doubt you haven't heard of it, but maybe you haven't. Anyway, it streams music on the internet. And like most sites, there were 3 sections to this website. There's a header at the top with the menu system. There's content in the middle, and then a footer at the bottom. And we're going to recreate this using the Neve theme and Elementor. With Neve, we're going to create the menu at the top and the footer at the bottom. And Elementor we're going to use to create the stuff in the middle. We're starting with this, pretty much a blank canvas. And if you want to follow along and create a site as I do in this tutorial, there's a link in the description down below to get hosting if you don't have any hosting yet. We've negotiated a great deal for you on the hosting, so make sure you check that out if you need the hosting, which is required for any website. It's basically where you store the files of your website. And if you don't have a domain name idea yet for your site, check out the domain name generator at Themeisle. You could type in, for example, music service, click on search, and it brings up all kinds of available domains with music service in the domain. So you can generate a whole lot of ideas on what to call your site. You can even limit the searches to, if you just want .com, choose just .com, then it shows only .com. And just scanning through these, this one's actually pretty good. Officialmusicservice.com. It's not bad. But if none of these tickle your fancy, check out the sounds like and random suggestions down below. This is more of a way to get a branded or brandable name. Officialmusicservice.com is not really brandable, but Spotify, for example, is. And Musica, for example, right here. That could be a brandable name idea for your site and your company. Anyway, check out Themeisle if you need help finding a domain name. And now we're going to get into building this site. What I've done so far is I've created some menus. So we have a bunch of menus on this site. There's a main menu at the top. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 different footer menus. And I've created the footer menus already. We're going to create the main menu together right now by going over to menus and then clicking on create a new menu. I'm going to call this main. I'm going to add custom links, and our links are going to be premium, help, download, sign up, login. It's easy enough. Premium, help, download, sign up, log in. There we go. That menu's been created. Click on save to make sure we save the menu. And now we're going to use this to create that menu system that we see at the top. We're going to do that in the customize section. Neve has a lot of great customization options, including header and footer builders. So if we click on header and click on primary menu, we see right now, this is the primary menu section up here. Right now we just have a search bar, and we don't want the search bar there. I'm actually going to hide the search bar by clicking on this little eye, choose my primary menu, which is going to be main menu. And then we have to go back into our header section. And now we have our menu up here in the top right. And it looks pretty good so far. We want to put our logo on the top left because we see they have their logo right there. So I'm going to click back to here, click on logo and site identity, select a logo. I'm going to upload a bunch of image files here, including the logo. So these are the 3 image files we need. I'm just going to drag and drop them right into here. One image is the US flag, one's a Spotify logo, and one is these colorful spheres. And the US flag, in case you're wondering where that goes, it is in the bottom right of the site right over here. And so we're going to click on the Spotify logo, click on select, and we're not going to crop any, we're going to skip cropping. And now the Spotify logo is up here, believe it or not, but it's white. It's white on white, so we can't see it. And here is how it looks like. It's white on gray, so we can see it better here. So if we want to actually see the logo up there, which I think we do, we have to change the background color of the header menu. And we're going to do that with a little bit of CSS. And you can just copy and paste this from the description down below, or the link in the description down below that'll take you to a blog page or somewhere where you can access the CSS. And we add it to the additional CSS section. Just going to paste it in here, and boom, the background of our menu system up here is now black. Now the Spotify logo is visible. Our menu items are still visible, but not quite how we want them. If we compare it to Spotify's website, we're actually getting pretty close. But we have bolder links. They turn green when you hover on them. And we have this little separator here. So let's get to work on doing that. Let's go back to our header, primary menu. This is where we can select the primary menu, which is the one on the top right up here. We can give it a layout. We're going to keep the layout as it is. And under styles, we're going to choose the color of the items. We want them to be white, just like they have over at Spotify. And we can change the color for the active item, which means the page that you're currently on. And we can change the color for the hovered item. Now the hovered item is going to be this green that we have here. But what is that green? How do we figure that out? Let's right click on there, click on inspect. As we can see, the green goes away. So we're going to click on :hov, then check hover. Now the green persists. And we can see what that green is. It's right here actually. RGB 30, 215, 96. If you can't find the color in the inspector, you can use a color picker plugin or a color picker extension for your browser. You can just click on the color picker, click on pick color from web, and then very carefully pick the appropriate color. It can be challenging sometimes. Very challenging. That's not quite the right color, but luckily we have the right color right here. So I'm just going to copy this color, go back into here, and this won't take RGB values. So let's go back to the Spotify website. I see this crossed out value for the color here. I'm just going to copy that because I think that's actually pretty close. I don't know why it's crossed out in the rules. Now we have that green. I think that's pretty good, but we still need to make it bold. And we're going to do that by just pasting in a little bit more CSS. If we go back to our additional CSS, we paste in, it's a very simple instruction saying the font weight of the link items in the main menu should be bold, and those were changed to bold. And another important point about the hover effect and the color of the menu items, if we head back to Spotify, we see that the menu at the top has these colors, but then also the menus at the bottom have those colors. So we might want to set a site-wide color scheme for the menu links. We can do that by going into colors and background, and we can just change the link color for all the links on the site. This will also include links in the content, so if you don't want to do this, don't do it. But if you are okay with having all the links white on your site, this is how you do it. Then the hover color is that green. I'm just going to pick a random one because I don't have that one selected anymore. And now we have that default setting of white for the link color, green for the hover, and then we don't have to fix it every single time on every single menu system. So now our menu is looking pretty close to what we need. We still have to make it a little transparent. We see there's some transparency here, meaning you can see through the menu and see what's behind it. How much we need, well, we can probably inspect this. I was going to say how much we need, we don't know until we have our background effect in there, or our background images. But here we see it's 0.6. So if we go back and update our CSS here, we add an A after RGB. A stands for alpha. Add a comma, and then add 0.6. And now we see this is a light gray instead of a black, and that's because we can see the white behind it coming through. And now we need to add that border, that little border piece, that little divider on the right-hand side. And we do that again by adding a little bit of CSS. We just go into the customizer, and the CSS is this right here, and that adds that little line right there as the divider in our menu. And now we have successfully replicated this menu system. We still have to create the background to see this see-through effect, but we have that menu system there. So now we're going to head into the footer and create that. Let's go back into the customizer and go to footer. And we start off with having just the copyright, and this footer is quite complicated. We have a section here with the logo. Then we have a menu system here, another menu system, social links, legal type links, and then the copyright information on the right. Now with the Neve theme, we're not going to get to 100% what they have, but we're going to get pretty darn close. So let's head into customize again. And for the footers, let's just add our footer menus first. So we have footer 1. That actually won't be the menu. That's going to be the logo. Footer 2 is going to be the first menu. Footer 3 is going to be the second. Footer 4 is going to be the third. I'm going to shrink the copyright put it on the right side. And then footer menu is going to be our legal links. And for footer 1, we're going to put the logo in here. So we're going to choose add a widget, add an image. It's going to be the Spotify logo. Click on add to widget. I just noticed that our spheres weren't there. Wonder where they went. I'll have to upload those again when we use them. Okay, so now we have our logo here. Can't see it. It's white on white. We'll see it in a little bit. Footer 2, we're going to add a menu widget. This one is going to be company, which is this first menu right here. Going to give it the footer 1 menu, and then footer 3 is going to be communities. And this one I have the footer 3 menu. That's not correct. This one will be footer 2 menu. There we go. And useful links is the name for that last menu. In footer 4. Let's put that in there. There we go. And the footer menu on the bottom, that is going to be footer 4. I know my naming convention for the menus could have been better because these footer sections are called footer 1, 2, 3, 4, and my menus are called footer 1, 2, 3, 4. So bear with me. So we have our footer menu horizontally across the bottom here. And I have a spelling mistake I see down there, missing an L. That's okay. I'll change that in a little bit. So now we have our menu more or less set up. We have to paste a little CSS into our additional CSS section to get it to look how they have it here. And then once we have the colors right and the sizing right, then we can carry on and customize it some more. So to add the custom CSS, we go back into the customizer and we go to additional CSS and we just paste it in right here. And then instantly updates everything down here and it looks pretty darn good, I think. The last thing we have to do is adjust the positioning of these footer menus, add our content on the bottom right, and change that spelling mistake. So let's start with that spelling mistake. I'm going to click on Publish to make sure all our changes are saved. And then we're going to head over to Appearance and then Menus. And I'm going to load footer 4 and add an L. Now our menu system will have the correct word. I'll go back to Customize. Now we have legal as it should be. And the spacing of these menus, as we can see over here, the 3 menus in the logo take up just over half of the available space. So let's shrink these down by simply dragging or clicking and dragging these widths and adjust the sizes that way. And I think that looks pretty good. With the footer links or the social links in here, we don't have another widget to add. So we have our footer 1 through 4, our footer menu, and our copyright, and we don't have any more components we can add to the menu system. So that's why we can't add those easily right there. So this footer widget does not allow you to go into 2 lines. So we're going to do it a little bit differently than they have. We're going to put this down into 1. So have the USA and the flag and the copyright info in 1 line. So first, let's put the copyright info in there. Just going to paste that right there. And then we're going to make this link just a hashtag, call it USA. And then we're going to add an image. And this image is going to be the US flag. So I'm going to hop into the dashboard in a new tab. Go to the media library. Click on the flag. Copy the link. Paste it in. And there we go. Have a nice little copyright info section and a pretty good looking footer, I must say. Let's click on Publish. Let's refresh this page for the first time so far. And we have a pretty solid looking header, solid looking footer. Now we just have to make the middle part with Elementor. So let's make that happen. Let's go to the dashboard. Let's close a bunch of these tabs. Make sure we've saved and published our customizer changes. Gonna close all these things. Gonna add a new page. I'm going to Let's call it homepage. Publish it. And then under settings and reading, select the static page as the home page. Make the home page the home page. Click on Save Changes. Go back to Pages. Have our home page here. Click on Edit. Then click on Edit with Elementor. And we have our nice header and footer created from the Neve theme pulled right in. I'm going to get rid of the sidebar. Make this a full width page. Page layout, Elementor full width. And now we have the full width to work with. And the very beginning, or the very first thing we want to do is add this nice colorful top header area. So this is multiple things overlaid. We have the gradient background for the full width section. We have these colorful spheres and then text and the buttons over top of that. So the colorful background, let's use our color picker. And let's pick this color right down here. And let's color pick again and pick the color way up here. Now we have our two colors. We can copy the sandy brown. I'm going to copy that. In Elementor, want to add a section. I'm going to make it full width. We're going to make it full width and stretch it so it goes all the way across the page. And we're going to add background under Style, Background, Gradient. First color will not be that one. First color. Second color is going to be the sandy one. And then the first color is going to be this pinky one. Light coral, they call it. So light coral is going to be color number 1. And there's our gradient. Looking pretty nice so far. Just going to get rid of this section up here. So it slides it right to the very top. I'm going to add some height to it. Just for now, give it a min height so we have something to work with. That looks pretty good. And I need to slide this up underneath the menu system so we have it like they have it. Right now the menu exists at the top, and then this section starts right below the menu. We need to use negative margin to advance that to the very top. So let's make it margin top of -10. And let's keep increasing it until we're at the very top. And I think we're about there, but now our menu's gone. This section below it is actually stacked higher than the menu, so it overlaps the menu. And to fix that, we have to add a z-index that's greater than the z-index for this section. This is done with some simple CSS. We're going to copy and paste. We're going to go to the customizer again. So let's head into Customize. Let's go to Additional CSS. I'm going to paste it right at the very top. And it just adds a z-index of 1 to the header. And now our menu system is above that section. Let's publish that. Let's go back to Elementor. Let's refresh, and we should have our menu appear up above, and there it is. So now we have to add the colorful spheres. These guys right here. We're going to do that with a background overlay. So go back into Elementor, and we have to select the section here, and we can't because the menu system's in the way, because the little 6 dots keep disappearing. So to fix that, or to get around that, go to Navigator in the bottom left, then click on Section. And then there's the background section where we added the gradient. Background overlays where we're going to add those spheres. So we have our image in the media library. It turns out it was actually uploaded. Earlier I said it wasn't, but then it was, and here it is. And they're not quite how they appear on Spotify, so we have a little work to do. So for the position, I'm going to make it center. Attachment is going to be scroll, which is also the default, I believe, which means it just stays put. Fixed is parallax, so it stays put as the site moves around it. Scroll means it stays put, and it just stays and scrolls with the page. Repeat is going to be no repeat, so we only have the image once. For the size, let's see if one of these options works. Cover does not. Contain makes them too small. Custom makes them just right, I hope. Let's see how big these are. So we're just past the logo here. We're at the divider over here. So we are pretty close there. For the opacity, I'm going to change that to 1, so there's no opacity. The image is exactly as it should be. And on theirs, we can see more of it. Their height for the section is a little taller. So let's just add some more height here so we can see more of these guys. This is being affected by the positioning of the background. So when I change the height, the background moves, which is affected by the position right here. If we do center bottom, it's not quite right because this one's half cut off. Let's just stick with center center. I guess pretty darn close. Now we want to add our content. And our content is pretty simple. Music for everyone. Let's just copy that. Let's add a heading. And it's going to be music for everyone. I'm going to center that. We're going to make it white. We're going to make it bigger. Nice and big. Let's do it like that. Next one, millions of songs. No credit card needed. It's pretty fantastic. So for this, I'm going to use a heading again. I like the heading options for these kind of things. Center it. Make it white. Typography. Make it smaller. I think that's pretty close. For the weight, make it a little lighter. It's too light. That's about right. And then a button that says Get Spotify Free. So let's add a button. Drag and drop that right there. Center it. Get Spotify Free is the text. And the color is pretty good. Theirs is a little bit different. So I'm going to use the color picker. I'm going to pick this color right here. And then copy it. Head back into Elementor under Style. For the background color, under the normal option, I'm going to paste that color in there. And then they have a different color for hover. When you hover over that, changes color. So I'm going to inspect this. I'm going to choose Hov, check hover like we did earlier, so it always has the hover color. Choose our color picker, or open our color picker, pick that color, and then copy that one. And that is the color for hover, background color for hover. So now we also have that nice hover effect. And theirs has a pill shape. So the edges are totally rounded, like almost like a half circle at the end. It's called a pill shape. We're going to add a border radius. We're going to keep adding it until the edges are totally round like a pill. That's pretty good there. So anything over 27 is going to make this one a pill shape. And I think we're pretty good. Pretty solid. A little extra padding on the top maybe. A little margin. Let's make this margin top of 10. There we go. I think that's pretty nice. Now we're going to do this next section, which is the next content piece, which is just this, a block of color on a white background. While I'm here, I'm going to take the color picker, going to choose this color, copy it, go back to Elementor, add a section. Unlike the first section, we're going to keep this as boxed and not stretch it. And we're going to add stuff to this column. So we can add actually the background color if we want to. Open the background section. Let's click on this pen. I'm going to add a background color, which would be the one we just copied from the site a moment ago, from the Spotify site. Paste that in there, and nothing appears. But as soon as we add an element to this column, that color will appear. So let's add a heading element. There's the background color. The heading element will say get 3 months free of premium, 99 cents. Let's center that. And we're going to make it white, just like they have there. Only 99 cents, or $1.99. Sorry, $9.99. If I can read, that'd be great. Let's make this one a text editor. Go to the text tab, paste that in there, center it, give it a color of white. Typography, make it a bit bigger, a little bit bigger. Let's see, theirs is also a little bit bolded. So weight of 4, 5. That's pretty good. Then we have a button, Get Premium. I'm just going to copy this button from up here. Duplicate it actually. And then drag and drop it right into there. And the button says Get Premium. And the colors, looks like the text color is the same color as the background. So that's not too hard. Let's copy from here. Under Style, Text Color, make it that green. And then when you hover over it, it does not change. Nothing changes when you hover. So let's use the color picker to find this color. It's not picking it up, it's showing as dark brown. Well, that's interesting. Let's try inspect. Button color right here. For some reason, the color picker did not pick that up. Go back into the home page or under the Elementor page. Background color of that. Hover color of nothing. Let's clear the hover color. No hover, looking good. Some terms, little tiny text. I'm just gonna duplicate this, move it down below, paste it in there, and go to typography and make it tiny, 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 and unbold it. That looks pretty good. Now I got to add a bunch of padding top and bottom. I'm going to click on the column, and the padding top and bottom is going to make it so there's more green above and below. I'm going to click that link to break the link so we can add the padding to just the top and the bottom, not affect the left and the right. And that is not enough. Let's make that 100. And this 100, that's pretty good. And now we need some margin top and bottom, so we have some white space. And that is added up here. So margin, let's make this 30. Let's make it 40. Not that much, 40. There we go. And bottom, 40. And now let's preview the page. So I think we're looking pretty darn solid here. Pretty close to what Spotify has for their homepage. Two things I've noticed. The transparency for the menu system isn't working quite right, and the menu is not following us down the page, which it does on the Spotify site. So let's go ahead and make those changes by adding a little bit of CSS, like we always do. Let's open the customizer and go to additional CSS. I'm going to paste in a little tiny bit of CSS, which just makes the header transparent. There are two levels of white in the header, and we fixed one of them by using transparency and changed the background color to black, but then we had another layer of white behind it. So that fixed that. And then to make our header sticky, so you can see it's not sticky now, we just paste in this little piece of CSS, and now it follows us down the page. And this CSS should be in the description down below. Some of the characters might not be legal in the YouTube descriptions, so those would be linked to somewhere else, but you can get it somewhere. So don't fret about having to write out all the CSS. You can just copy and paste it. Save that. Let's refresh out here, see how it looks. Menu system is transparent, follows us down the page, and this rebuild is looking pretty much done. If at any point in this tutorial you have some questions or you need some help, leave a comment down below and we'll try to help you as best we can. So that's how we recreate the Spotify homepage. If you find this tutorial helpful, please make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future tutorials. And next up is clicking one of the videos that popped up on the screen right now so you can get even better at WordPress. Until next time, I'm Bjorn Allpass for Themeisle. Keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.